Yes, so BYD have announced that their newest EV platform is going to be capable of charging at up to 1 megawatt of power, which is really an unprecedented jump forward for the passenger vehicle market.
What does it mean when one company builds the largest electric vehicle factory the world has ever seen? For BYD, it signals a bold move to reshape the global auto industry and challenge everything we thought we knew about EV production. The Zhengzhou GigaFactory isn't just big. It's a strategic power play designed to shift the balance in BYD's favor, and it's already forcing competitors to rethink their next steps. So how did BYD pull this off, and what does it mean for the future of electric vehicles? Let's take a closer look. From batteries to the big league. To really understand how BYD managed to leapfrog some of the world's most established automakers, you have to rewind the clock to where it all started. The year was 1995, and Wang Chuanfu, a brilliant chemist with little capital but enormous ambition, launched BYD with just 20 employees and a vision few could understand. Back then, BYD wasn't in the car business. It was in the battery business, a low-profile company that quietly fueled the tech boom from behind the curtain, supplying batteries to just about every mobile phone brand that mattered, from Nokia to Motorola and beyond. You didn't know it, but BYD was in your pocket the whole time. But Wang Chuanfu wasn't interested in staying behind the curtain. In 2003, he made a move so bold that many industry insiders rolled their eyes. He acquired a struggling state-owned car manufacturer. At the time, China's auto industry was dominated by legacy players, and electric vehicles were considered a pipe dream. Gas was cheap, hybrids were niche, and Teslas were still years away from making headlines. But Wang didn't just want to build cars. He was playing a longer game, one where the combustion engine faded into history and clean energy took over the highways. That decision, which once looked like a miscalculation, turned out to be the foundation of a new industrial empire. Fast forward to today, and BYD isn't just a car maker. It's a full-stack, vertically integrated giant, a company that doesn't just assemble electric vehicles, but actually creates them from the ground up. Every piece of the EV puzzle, from the lithium iron phosphate batteries to the electric motors to the semiconductor chips that control vehicle performance, BYD builds in-house, and that's where the scale comes in. This isn't just a factory, it's a self-contained ecosystem. A mega campus so sprawling that it might as well have its own postal code. Every department, every production line, every R&D team operates within a few steps of each other. So when global competitors hit supply chain bottlenecks, BYD doesn't wait for chips to arrive on a cargo ship or hunt down battery suppliers. They just send a technician down the hall. This level of vertical integration gives BYD a massive strategic edge. It dramatically cuts costs, shortens production times, and eliminates the guesswork that slows down competitors. While others pivot and delay launches due to semiconductor shortages or rising material prices, BYD keeps its foot on the accelerator, outpacing rivals not just with volume, but with consistency. They aren't reacting to the market, they're steering it. And perhaps the most impressive part, BYD has done this quietly, without the media fanfare that surrounds names like Tesla or Rivian. While others make headlines with prototypes, BYD builds cars at scale, real cars, on real roads, for real customers. This factory doesn't clock out at 5 p.m. It runs like an entire city, complete with dormitories, schools, restaurants, and recreational centers for employees. There are tens of thousands of workers here, many of whom live on site. It's about creating a full ecosystem where talent is nurtured, retained, and optimized for long-term production goals. BYD builds a workforce that never has to leave the property. Compared to other EV giants, BYD's model is unique. Tesla's factories are high-tech, no doubt, but they often rely on partnerships and third-party suppliers. BYD's GigaFactory, on the other hand, is like a high-functioning cult of efficiency. If Tesla is sleek and polished, then BYD is massive, relentless, and quietly taking over everything. The sheer scale allows BYD to experiment, improve, and scale up production faster than almost anyone else in the game. What happens in Zhengzhou doesn't stay in Zhengzhou. This factory is a blueprint for the future of EV manufacturing. With global demand for electric vehicles expected to skyrocket over the next decade, companies that can produce at scale without bottlenecks will lead the charge. BYD is building the infrastructure to power a global shift, and they're doing it without waiting for anyone's permission. This is a story about how China's EV titan quietly built an empire while the rest of the world was still stuck in traffic. The moment BYD went all in. In 2022, BYD made a move that seemed risky on the surface, but turned out to be a masterstroke. The company decided to stop making traditional gas-powered cars entirely. While most automakers were still hedging their bets, BYD pushed all its chips into electric and hybrid technology. They were the first major automaker in the world to fully abandon internal combustion engines. A lot of people thought it was a gamble. Turns out, it was a jackpot. Just 1 year later, in 2023, the numbers told the story. BYD sold over 3 million vehicles, an 80% jump from the previous year. The company pulled in $85 billion in revenue, nearly doubling Tesla's sales volume for the same period. Tesla clocked in at around 1.8 million cars. That's not just growth, that's a full-blown takeover. Now shift the focus to the heart of BYD's electric revolution, Zhengzhou. This is where the strategy lives and breathes. BYD's mega factory sits in Henan province, smack in the middle of China, and that's no accident. This location is pure logistical gold. Henan lies at the intersection of key national highways and railway lines. That means faster deliveries, lower shipping costs, and direct access to nearly every part of China. It also gives BYD a clear advantage when it comes to global exports. Because of this central placement, BYD saves roughly 20% in transportation costs, compared to manufacturers operating out of coastal cities. That's a huge chunk of change in a business where every percentage point counts. The benefits of this location go deeper, literally. Henan sits on some of the world's richest reserves of lithium and rare earth metals, which are crucial for making electric vehicle batteries. That proximity gives BYD better control over its raw materials, and it protects them from the unpredictable world of global supply chains. They're not stuck waiting for ships or negotiating with foreign suppliers, they just bring it in from next door. To make the deal even sweeter, local governments have rolled out the red carpet. BYD received $500 million in tax breaks, subsidies, and support for infrastructure. But it didn't stop there. The government also upgraded rail lines leading directly to Shanghai's major export terminals. This cuts down shipping times and makes international delivery far smoother. BYD has also invested in turning Zhengzhou into a full-scale smart manufacturing base. The facility integrates AI-powered systems for real-time decision-making across logistics, production, and inventory management. Sensors embedded throughout the plant monitor equipment performance, material flow, and environmental factors like temperature and humidity, all feeding into a centralized control hub. This allows instant adjustments and predictive maintenance, reducing downtime and waste. Beyond automation, Zhengzhou is also home to BYD's flagship R&D complex, focused on next-generation battery tech and vehicle software. The site is developing solid-state battery prototypes and exploring vehicle-to-grid energy systems, technologies that could transform not just how cars drive, but how they interact with the energy grid. BYD isn't just thinking about batteries and trains, they're also thinking long-term about who's going to run all this tech. That's why they've partnered with universities and research centers in Zhengzhou. Thousands of students are being trained in battery chemistry, artificial intelligence, and advanced manufacturing systems. The goal isn't just to create jobs. It's to build a future-ready workforce that can keep the company ahead of the curve for years to come. Many of these students transition directly into jobs at the Zhengzhou factory, bringing fresh ideas and updated knowledge straight from the classroom to the production floor. It's a system designed to refresh itself constantly, without relying on outdated methods or outsourced expertise. A factory still growing. Construction on the Zhengzhou GigaFactory kicked off in 2021, and it's far from finished. Right now, the site is in Phase 5 of 8. It's still a work in progress, but even in this incomplete state, it's already pulling off numbers that most factories can only dream about. The master plan is to build its separate production lines, each dedicated to a specific part of the electric vehicle process: batteries, motors, final assembly, the whole package. At the moment, 6 of those lines are up and running. That's enough to crank out around 400,000 vehicles a year. Not bad for a factory that's not even done yet. But once all 16 lines are operational, which is expected by the end of 2025, the output will skyrocket to 1 million vehicles annually. That's the equivalent of producing 2 cars every minute, around the clock, every single day for a full year. Building a mega factory in China might seem like an obvious move, especially considering the country's massive industrial base and deep talent pool. But BYD isn't operating in a vacuum. Global competition is heating up, and other electric vehicle giants are also betting big on local production hubs. Tesla, for example, has spread its gigafactories across strategic regions of the world. Each one is tailored to serve different markets with precision. The Nevada facility focuses on North America and is one of the largest buildings in the world by footprint. Then there's the Berlin Gigafactory serving Europe and the Shanghai plant that covers most of Asia. Each of these sites plays a critical role in Tesla's global strategy, and they all reflect a broader industry shift toward regional manufacturing ecosystems. BYD is taking a similar approach, but scaling it in a way that suits China's unique infrastructure, labor force, and resource access. The Zhengzhou plant is an ecosystem designed to operate with surgical efficiency and massive scale. It reflects not just the company's ambition, but also China's larger push to dominate the global EV market. What's happening inside the factory is just as impressive as what's being built outside. The 6 currently active lines are testing new systems for robotics, AI-guided assembly, and smart logistics. BYD is using this phase of construction to experiment, optimize, and upgrade in real time. It's essentially a living lab where every operational phase feeds into the next one. Some of the most advanced battery cells are being developed and tested on site. Engineers are working to cut charging times, improve energy density, and boost range, all while trying to lower costs per unit. What's rolling out of the factory today is just the beginning. Future models are expected to include longer-range EVs and more affordable options that can compete in emerging markets. The plant has also started integrating vertical supply chain systems that allow BYD to produce many of its parts in-house, reducing its reliance on third-party suppliers. At 4 million square feet, BYD's Zhengzhou plant is a full-on EV ecosystem, engineered to handle every stage of production in-house. From crafting battery packs to assembling electric motors, this factory takes vertical integration to the next level. Tesla may have set the template, especially with its Nevada Gigafactory, but BYD is now redrawing that blueprint and scaling it up dramatically. While Tesla's approach is highly centralized and tech-driven, BYD is leveraging sheer volume and location to leap ahead. The Zhengzhou factory is designed to outproduce. With a goal of reaching 1 million vehicles annually, it's on track to double the capacity of Tesla's Nevada site, which maxes out at around 500,000 cars a year. And this isn't some distant dream. BD is already halfway through its 8-phase construction plan, with 6 production lines running and 10 more set to follow. Once complete, this factory could easily become the most productive electric vehicle facility in the world. BYD isn't just chasing Tesla, it's challenging the entire EV food chain. Companies like Rivian and Lucid Motors are also in the game, but their scale is still modest by comparison. Rivian's Illinois plant, for example, is planning to reach 200,000 vehicles annually by 2027. That's a strong number, but it's still only a fifth of what BYD expects from Zhengzhou. Lucid Motors, meanwhile, is steadily building out its Arizona facility. It currently holds a capacity of around 30,000 vehicles annually, with hopes to increase that as demand grows. But these newer players face an uphill battle, not just in scaling production, but in matching the efficiency and self-sufficiency that BYD has baked into its operations from the beginning. BYD's strategy is about doing it faster, cheaper, and with fewer dependencies. The competitive edge. One thing that sets BYD apart is how much of its supply chain is already under its control. It designs its own batteries, assembles its own chips, and even produces many of the raw materials in-house or sources them locally. This level of vertical integration cuts costs, speeds up production, and shields the company from global supply chain disruptions that have hit many other automakers hard. Tesla, while still a dominant force, has had to navigate global logistics from different angles, especially with its Nevada and Shanghai plants catering to different continents. That's a strength, but it's also a potential vulnerability in a market where speed and flexibility are becoming just as important as innovation. BYD's centrally located, resource-rich Zhengzhou facility gives it a home field advantage that's hard to ignore. As the competition heats up, the global EV landscape is quickly shifting. Tesla may have been first to define what a gigafactory should look like, but BYD is now redefining what it can achieve. The Zhengzhou facility is a warning shot to every automaker hoping to dominate the EV space. While many of its competitors, including Tesla and Rivian, rely on a range of suppliers for key components, BYD has flipped the script. The company has made vertical integration its superpower. This means that BYD doesn't just assemble cars, it manufactures almost every critical component in-house, from batteries and semiconductors to air conditioning units. This level of control over the supply chain allows them to keep costs lower than rivals who are still at the mercy of external suppliers. By controlling production of nearly everything it needs, BYD gains two significant advantages. First, it can ensure higher quality because it's overseeing every stage of manufacturing. Second, it's able to cut down on costs, which directly benefits the consumer. For example, BYD's Seal sedan is priced at $24,000 in China, which is about $8,000 cheaper than Tesla's Model 3. This price difference is not just a sales pitch, it's the result of BYD's ability to keep production costs down while ramping up volume. In addition to manufacturing control, BYD is also investing heavily in automation and artificial intelligence at the Zhengzhou facility. Over 90% of its battery production process is now automated, reducing labor costs and minimizing human error. The use of machine learning algorithms also allows BYD to predict maintenance needs, optimize logistics, and manage energy consumption across the plant, leading to even more operational efficiency. This smart factory approach isn't just futuristic, it's practical. The facility features a centralized command center where real-time data is tracked across every production line. Managers can view live updates on material inventory, machine performance, and order flow. This kind of centralized control is part of BYD's larger goal to turn Zhengzhou into a high-tech manufacturing hub that can respond to global market demands in real time. As impressive as the price tag of BYD's vehicles is, it's the company's ability to ramp up production that really catches attention. With plans to scale up to 400,000 vehicles annually by 2028, BYD is positioning itself as one of the top players in the global EV market. This growth trajectory is about surging ahead, positioning the company as the go-to option for consumers looking for affordable, reliable, and high-quality electric vehicles. And with plans to boost output even further, the Zhengzhou factory will be able to keep pace with global demand. By 2025, it's expected to hit an astonishing 1 million vehicles annually. That scale gives BYD a significant competitive advantage, especially when paired with its efficient cost structure. What's happening in Zhengzhou is part of a massive shift in the global EV market. BYD's approach is creating ripples that are already being felt around the world. The factory is a prime example of how Chinese automakers are catching up to, or even surpassing, the traditional giants in the electric vehicle race. With its ability to offer competitive prices, large-scale production, and cutting-edge technology, BYD is steadily carving out a bigger slice of the EV market for itself. A game-changer for the EV market. BYD's ability to manufacture electric vehicles at a significantly lower cost has forced other automakers to reconsider their strategies. Take, for example, BYD's Dolphin hatchback in Europe. which is priced about $8,000 less than comparable models from well-established brands like Volkswagen and Renault. This price gap isn't just a marketing tool, it's a reality that's reshaping the EV market. Legacy automakers are now under pressure to re-evaluate their production methods, striving to cut costs and improve efficiency to stay competitive. This shift could be the catalyst for a larger transformation in the automotive industry, with more brands focusing on affordability without sacrificing quality. Some analysts believe that by 2026, up to 25% of all electric vehicles sold globally could come from BYD's Zhengzhou factory alone. That's an eye-opening figure, especially considering the factory's immense production capacity and cost-effective manufacturing model. The sheer volume of cars produced at such competitive prices could very well disrupt the global EV landscape in a major way. While BYD's success story is impressive, it's not without its hurdles. The company's proximity to lithium reserves in China's Henan province is a major advantage, but it also presents a risk. The global lithium market is volatile, and any fluctuation in prices could directly affect BYD's bottom line. Lithium is a critical component in electric vehicle batteries, and as demand for EVs rises, so does the competition for this key resource. BYD's reliance on local supplies makes it vulnerable to these market shifts, and that's something they'll need to navigate carefully in the coming years. Another challenge impacting BYD, along with nearly every other major automaker, is the ongoing global shortage of semiconductor chips. These chips are crucial for everything from vehicle navigation systems to powertrain management. Despite BYD's significant strides in production, the semiconductor shortage continues to disrupt manufacturing timelines. For a company with such massive production goals, managing these delays becomes increasingly difficult, and BYD has had to adapt accordingly. To mitigate the risks associated with these supply chain issues, BYD has taken proactive steps to secure its future. The company has secured mining rights in countries like Zimbabwe and Chile, ensuring access to vital raw materials like lithium, cobalt, and nickel. These new mining ventures will reduce BYD's reliance on China's domestic supplies and help them maintain a more balanced and reliable flow of essential materials. In addition to its mining efforts, BYD is also expanding its global manufacturing footprint. New mega factories are being built in Hungary and Brazil, which will further diversify its production capabilities. By spreading out its operations, BYD can better insulate itself from regional supply chain disruptions. These moves not only safeguard the company from unpredictable market shifts, but also enhance its ability to scale operations to meet the growing demand for electric vehicles worldwide. Sustainability at the core. The Zhengzhou factory's commitment to sustainability is impressive, with one of the key highlights being the massive 1.2 million square feet of solar panels on its roof. These panels generate enough energy to power 20,000 homes every year, significantly reducing the facility's environmental footprint. On top of that, BYD has implemented a highly efficient system to reuse wastewater from the manufacturing process, cutting its water usage by 40%. These sustainability efforts help offset an estimated 120,000 tons of CO2 emissions annually, equivalent to planting 5 million trees. By focusing on reducing its environmental impact, BYD is creating a model for green manufacturing that other companies will be hard-pressed to match. In an industry that has been notorious for its carbon footprint, BYD's commitment to cleaner production sets them apart from the competition. Battery technology is another major focus at the Zhengzhou factory, and BYD has made tremendous progress in this area. One of their standout innovations is the Blade battery, which is now used in many of their vehicles. Unlike traditional lithium-ion batteries, the Blade battery is far safer, with a significantly reduced risk of fires. It's also cheaper to produce, which helps BYD maintain its competitive edge by keeping vehicle prices lower than many of its rivals. But BYD's ambitions don't stop there. The company is also working on next-generation solid-state batteries, which promise to revolutionize the electric vehicle market. These batteries could offer up to 500 miles of range on just a 10-minute charge, an absolute game-changer for the industry. BYD expects to begin mass production of these batteries by 2026, with the Zhengzhou factory playing a pivotal role in scaling this new technology. If successful, these solid-state batteries could significantly improve EV performance and drastically reduce charging times, offering a huge advantage over current battery technologies. What really sets the Zhengzhou factory apart is that it's not just a manufacturing site, it's a fully self-contained city. Over 60,000 workers live on site, with dormitories that offer much more than just a place to sleep. The factory's campus is equipped with cafeterias, gyms, and free Wi-Fi, ensuring that employees are well taken care of while they work. There are even schools for workers' children, which makes the factory a complete ecosystem for those living and working there. On top of that, there's a massive 200,000 square foot shopping mall, where workers can buy everything from groceries to electronics. For entertainment, there are sports fields, tennis courts, and an artificial lake for fishing, providing employees with a balanced work-life environment. This approach to on-site living is also designed to keep workers engaged and focused, minimizing the need for external infrastructure and allowing the factory to operate more efficiently. The integration of living, working, and recreation spaces creates an efficient workflow that benefits both the company and its employees. With workers having everything they need on site, BYD can maximize productivity and reduce downtime. This self-sustained setup also contributes to the company's goal of maintaining high production volumes while keeping costs low. Having a workforce that is happy and well taken care of translates into fewer distractions, higher morale, and ultimately, a more productive environment. While this setup might seem extravagant, it's clear that BYD is creating a sustainable, efficient, and attractive ecosystem that supports both their workers and their business model. By making life easier for their employees, they also make their manufacturing processes more efficient, setting the stage for long-term growth. The risk of overcapacity. By 2026, the Zhengzhou facility is expected to employ around 200,000 people, which is about the same size as the population of Des Moines, Iowa. This gives an idea of just how massive BYD's operation really is. The scale of this factory is almost unheard of in the manufacturing world, especially when it comes to electric vehicle production. It's an ambitious project that's pushing the boundaries of what we typically see in the industry. However, with such a colossal operation, there are bound to be challenges, and BYD is no stranger to those. One of the biggest risks for the Zhengzhou factory is the potential for overcapacity. The plant is designed to produce up to 1 million cars per year, but the global demand for electric vehicles is starting to plateau. Take Europe, for example. Some of BYD's models have started piling up at ports, and dealerships have begun slashing prices to move inventory. If this trend continues, and demand doesn't grow as expected, the Zhengzhou factory could be left with excess production capacity, turning it into a very expensive white elephant. While BYD is clearly betting on the continued rise of electric vehicles, the company knows that demand can't keep growing forever at the pace it has been. If global interest in EVs slows down, BYD will face a significant challenge in maintaining its massive production scale. It's also impossible to ignore the fierce competition BYD faces. Tesla, Rivian, and numerous other automakers are aggressively scaling up their own production capabilities. This means that BYD can't just sit back and relax. The company will have to keep improving its products and innovating to stay ahead. Lowering costs and refining manufacturing processes will become even more crucial as more players enter the market and vie for a share of the electric vehicle pie. As competitors ramp up their operations, BYD will need to constantly find ways to differentiate itself, not just through cutting-edge technology, but also by maintaining its position as a price leader in the industry. The competition is fierce, and the company has to keep pushing forward if it wants to maintain its edge. BYD is facing a range of external factors that could make things more complicated. The global semiconductor shortage continues to plague the entire auto industry, and BYD is no exception. On top of that, there are potential tariffs looming over its vehicles. The upcoming carbon border tax in the European Union, for example, could add as much as $2,000 to the price of each BYD vehicle sold in Europe. This would make it harder for the company to compete, especially since affordability has been one of its key selling points. Despite these risks, BYD is undeterred in its expansion efforts. The company is already building new factories in Hungary and Brazil to diversify its manufacturing footprint and reduce its reliance on China. The Hungarian facility, set to open in 2026, will allow BYD to bypass EU tariffs and better serve the growing European EV market. Similarly, the Brazilian plant will focus on South America, a region that is still lagging in terms of electric vehicle infrastructure, but holds significant potential for growth in the coming years. By 2030, BYD aims to localize 80% of its supply chain in each region it operates in. This strategy will help reduce the company's dependence on China for key materials and components, allowing it to adapt more quickly to regional market shifts. This approach also positions BYD to minimize the impact of potential trade barriers or geopolitical disruptions, ensuring that its factories are as self-sufficient as possible. Looking ahead, BYD's future hinges on its ability to scale production, reduce costs, and continue driving innovation in areas like battery technology and autonomous driving. The company has already made significant progress in developing solid-state batteries, which promise to deliver more power with fewer safety concerns compared to traditional lithium-ion batteries. Additionally, BYD has been working on self-driving systems, aiming to make its vehicles not just electric, but smarter and more efficient. The Zhengzhou factory, with its capacity to produce 1 million cars annually, will be crucial in bringing these innovations to market at scale. If BYD can successfully integrate cutting-edge technology into its vehicles while keeping costs low, it could solidify its position as a global leader in the electric vehicle space. Now, as BYD pushes forward with its massive plans, the big question remains: is the Zhengzhou factory the future of electric vehicle manufacturing, or could it be a risky gamble that backfires? The competition is fierce, and the industry's rapidly changing landscape could pose challenges that even the most ambitious manufacturers struggle to overcome. With so much on the line, it'll be interesting to see how BYD navigates these hurdles in the years ahead. Let us know what you think in the comments.